Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. We are about to go over a new and updated list because Pitchfork Media has done a list like this before, but I don't believe they have tried their hand at making a best albums of the 1990s list since like the 2000s. So it's been quite a bit. Maybe with more hindsight and with more albums added to this list, we're going to get an even more epic list. We're going to go over it, see how fire it is, see how bad it is, maybe talk about what may be missing from it. I guess we're going to see. Given that it is Pitchfork and they do have that hipster music nerd credibility, at least to a degree, I would expect that the picks here are all very necessary. And they're not going to go like maybe too obvious or too mainstream with a lot of it, but you know, I guess we will see. Now, see, here we go. Bratmobile, Potty Mouth, 1993. This is the kind of Kill Rock Stars magic that I expect Pitchfork to pick up on. You know what I mean? That you're not going to hear everywhere. You're not going to see referenced on a Rolling Stone list or some shit like that. Pitchfork is going to give you at least some of the deep pulls. The Bodyguard soundtrack. I mean, look, when I think of the 90s, I do most definitely think of Whitney Houston. I do most definitely think of some of her most epic creative high points during that era. But geez, man, Boredoms and Fugazi Repeater. I mean, I would rank this a lot higher. Whoa, talk about a throwback. I had this one on cassette, boy. I had this one on cassette. Is TLC Crazy Sexy Cool going to be on this list as well? I'll make love to you like you want me to. This was the shit back in the day. I'm telling you, this was the absolute shit, man. This was some prime time R&B. Sparkle Horse R.I.P. Got to get that representation in there. Also, 3-6 Mafia, Mystic Styles. Given the massive amount of influence of this record, especially in the modern trap era, I think this needs to rank higher. This needs to rank a lot fucking higher. This is like a top 50 album at the very least. 137, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Also a very influential group that I would hope to see a lot higher on this list. I mean, those triplet flows, the melodic flows, you can't really go much of anywhere, especially throughout the 2010s, without hearing at least a little bit of Bone Thugs influence. I mean, at this point, the influence that they kind of had through the 2010s has been so detached from its original blueprint now these days with a lot of the hip hop that's dropping at the moment. It's not a direct connection, but throughout the 2010s, especially with artists like A$AP Rocky, you did hear a lot of Bone Thugs back and forth in that stuff. Jeff Buckley Grace, I mean, not a personal favorite of mine, but just surprised it's not higher, just given how beloved this record is and how much of a icon Jeff Buckley has proven to be. If these are below 100, like what is the top 100 looking like? Because Lonesome Crowded West, there are very few indie rock records that are as nearly flawless as front to back as this record is, and also as versatile and well performed and recorded. The most classic Guided by Voices record too. Damn, the top 100 has got to be fire if this is what we're dealing with at this point. And also landing under the self-titled Garbage album, which is good, but is it above all of these other albums that we saw thus far good? I don't think so. I mean, respect to Garbage, and Garbage, is a good band, had a lot of great tracks back in the day, but, to me, this is a one that has no business being above like the Tory record and many others so far. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, should be higher. Green Day Dookie, arguably the best pop punk record of the 90s as well, especially in terms of like when you're talking about just mainstream shit. Going past here, still a lot of fire picks, jazz rap, some awesome Britpop from Elastica, Mary J. Blige, and Smog. Like, if these are not records you haven't heard, you really do need to do yourself Tortoise, TNT. You really do need to do yourself a goddamn flavor. Diggable Planets! Air Moon Safari, I like it, but like, this high, like almost touching 100 and on top of all of these other records, I mean, there's some cool synth work on there, for sure. But it's not that consistent of an album, in my opinion. Built to Spill, I suppose it's fine. I mean, I've never been a big Built to Spill fan. I really haven't. I mean, I get their place, their very essential place in the indie rock circuit, but is their sound as essential or as groundbreaking or as bold or as memorable as ODB or Tori fucking Amos or Rage Against the Machine or the many other records, even Guided by Voices? and Diggable Planets, like that it is, essentially sitting on top of? I don't think so, not in my opinion, but nice on Jim O'Rourke for getting into, the top 100. Nice. Screamadelica, great record, classic record, own this one, love this one, amazing alternative dance LP. Got to get that 90s ska in, And Beck Odelay, nice, man. Can you tell I'm a 90s kid? We have our first taste of Radiohead at 81. I have a sneaking suspicion that Radiohead's going to be ranking pretty high on this list. We will see. Bikini Kill, got to get that Riot Girl in there. Yes, DMX, It's Dark, and Hell is Hot. 79, I feel like, is an appropriate ranking for this. 79 is good. 69, Love Songs, fucking classic as hell. As is Things Fall Apart from the Roots. We're getting the heavy hitters. Pavement Slanted and Enchanted at 70. Yeah, that classic indie and slacker rock in the mix. Personally, not the biggest Pavement fan in the world, but, their contributions to underground rock are undeniable. Beastie Boys, Check Your Head. Some great and super just like amazing Beastie Boys tracks on this record, but as an album overall, kind of a mess. This would have not even broken the top 100 for me. Tricky, nice, amazing, fantastic, classic trip hop on this one, which, speaking of which, I don't think we've seen any other trip hop records thus far. Where is freaking Portishead going to land on this thing? Probably super high. Juvenile, 400 Degrees. I mean, I know, this era and this aesthetic and this style has like really seen a huge comeback and is more popular than ever when we're talking about like classic hip hop and underground hip hop. It's 62. 62 over Liquid Swords? I don't think so. Maybe call me a bit of an East Coast head, call me a fucking Wu-Tang head, but like I would not put 400 Degrees over Iron Man, Liquid Swords, and fucking, 36 Chambers, the dirty version. I just would not. Also, Biggie's Life After Death. That's a bold statement, honestly. And not to say that this album is bad. It's not. Mobb Deep, the infamous, don't disagree with this placement at all. Scott Walker, Tilt. Nice. Ranking pretty high with one of the freakiest and most avant-garde records in his discography. Hell yes for this. And shoulder to shoulder with the queen of pop herself, Madonna, Ray of Light, which is an amazing pop record. Stereolab, yes, absolutely a top 50 record. So far, the top 50s are bangers. I'm not really disagreeing with any of the top 50s so far. Le Tigre, maybe pushing it a little bit. Now, see, again, Lil' Kim Hardcore is not a top 50 record. I feel like in the current paradigm of hip hop, it really is like a bad bitch era in terms of the artists who are gaining the most attention, making the most waves, really kind of like dictating the direction of a lot of things artistically. And of course, like, you wouldn't have a lot of that, or at least a lot of the groundwork for that was laid by Lil' Kim. And, you do have to give props, you do have to give flowers, you do have to give kudos for that being the case. But hardcore is still far from a great record from front to back. Talk, Laughing Stock is a top 50, and to have it around the 30 mark is not bad either. That's a good look. Lucinda Williams, some essential alt country on this one. This is a beautiful record. This is a touching record. This is a record that you're putting on and showing to your friends on your Instagram story, and then they're checking in to see if you're okay. We have Neutral Milk Hotel in the Aeroplane Over the Sea. I mean, should it have been top 20? I think so. But I'll take 31. I suppose I'll take 31. Maybe Pitchfork distancing itself from the hipster memery a little bit. Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. Amazing record. Absolutely a top 50 record. Absolutely a top 30 record. This is one of the best hip-hop records of all time, not just one of the best hip-hop records of the 90s. This album is absolutely stellar. We're getting more bops, more bangers, good choices. Boards of Canada, Music Has the Right to Children. Absolutely a top 50 record. Essential electronic music here, folks. And if you're feeling sinister, absolutely a top 50 record. Good sequencing so far. Good sequencing. The top 50 is looking better and better. Illmatic 22. I mean, probably more of like a top 20, but I guess we're close enough. And Silver Jews over it. I'm not displeased with this placement, because actually this is wholeheartedly what I believe. Silver Jews American Water is absolutely positively a top 20. Yeah, it's 20. It's a 21, but still, it's a top 20 record of the 90s. I just feel like it's taken a while for people to come around on that. This is an amazing record. This is a mind-blowing record. The songwriting is stellar. David Berman's vocals are beautiful and moving. His lyricism is bested by very few as far as 90s songwriters go, in my opinion. American Water needs all the praise and all the attention it can get. Absolutely amazing placement on Pitchfork's part with this LP. Notorious B.I.G., I mean, this is absolutely, no question, was going to land around this high on the list, if not in the top 10 of the list. That's to kind of be expected. I mean, for all 90s lists that we ever see, like this one is consistently around in this area. Daft Punk, Homework, nice. I mean, absolutely positively worthy of this spot. Homework is a great record. Sometimes people, I think, downplay it a little bit because of how much better, in some respects, Discovery is, but Homework is still an amazing fucking house album. Outkast, Aquemini, yes, this is a top 12, if not a top 10 album. Definitely deserves this spot. Amazing record. One of the most forward-thinking hip-hop albums of this decade. Very few, I think, are as forward-thinking. Black on Both Sides being another example. Also, obviously Blowout Comb being another example, but to see this one this high is nice. Nirvana, Nevermind, hey, listen, I said this was a 10 out of 10 in a video that I recently did, and I kind of limited that video as well as other decade videos to just 5 albums at a time. And, when it came down to albums I felt the most strongly about in terms of like them being a 10 out of 10, I had to pick Nevermind. I did. And I'm glad this is in the top 10. I'm glad that we're at a point where culturally we don't need to look down our nose at this album because it's overplayed and it's overcredited and it's overhyped and it's this and that and it's the other thing. No, this album is actually amazing from front to back. It is actually like one of the best rock records of all time. I think to downplay that because it's so popular is snobbishness. Nothing more than snobbishness, and I'm glad it's in the top 10. Nice. Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, absolutely a top 10 record of the 90s. Deserves to be in the top 10. What else is in the top 10? We have Hole. No. Oh, Live Through This? What? Hole over fucking Nirvana? Are we trying to make a statement here? Or what the hell are we saying culturally by doing this? Oh God. What? We're putting Hole over Nevermind? How did we get here? What glitch in the Matrix occurred for this to be? We can't do this. There is no fucking way on this planet that Live Through This, song for song. This album could have been left off this list entirely. It really could have. I mean, are there some songs on it that should make a top 90 songs of the decade list? Yes, absolutely, positively. But this album is better than Nevermind? Are you on crack? This is the worst. This is the worst placement on this entire list. I guess Pitchfork made a bold choice here. Shout out to them for that. Janet Jackson, Velvet Rope. This is a great album. This is a great one. Kind of bouncing back here a little bit, but Velvet Rope rules. Velvet Rope actually does fucking kick fucking ass. I love this record. Björk, Homogenic. Beautiful album, amazing album, mind-blowing album, absolutely a top 10 album. Wu-Tang, Enter the Wu-Tang, absolutely a top 10 album, no question about that. Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville. I feel like this is a little overrated. I mean, I get that a lot of people like are living and dying by this record, but if I may, I feel like Pitchfork is still kind of like maybe trying to compensate for the fact that they gave Miss Phair a 0.0 that one time. At one time, which I believe at some point they did a bit of a mea culpa on. Listen, I'm a reviewer too. Not all of our takes are good or well received all of the time. I get it. I understand. I've been there. Let's see what's number 1. There we go. Loveless. Just a groundbreaking album sonically and texturally. I don't know if song for song would I put it over some of the records that have landed lower than it, but still a very groundbreaking album. I can't say I have too many complaints in terms of the artist chosen, the bases covered. Obviously, there's not like a huge amount of like jazz or metal on this list. And when we're talking 90s, there is a lot of super essential extreme metal. grindcore, death metal, black metal that dropped during this era, and that was pretty much non-existent. Very Western Europe, very North American as far as like the overall tone of the list, which, I mean, that's sort of been the area geographically that's been so dominant of music nerddom for such a long time that, of course, you're going to see kind of those slants and those biases crop up. Outside of that, I think this is a pretty interesting and dank list. A lot of bops on it, a lot of bangers, and, you know, regardless of the blind eye that it turns towards some things, there are a lot of amazing and essential and fantastic records on this list. You know, don't think that because this list is not perfect or all-encompassing that you should ignore these albums or think of them as less than or not that important. They are important. They are great. They are amazing. What these artists have done on these records is incredible, and, you know, they deserve the attention that they're getting on this or any list that they are included in. So, yeah. I think that's it. Thank you again once more to Pitchfork for the content. Love you, love you, love you guys. Mwah. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Pitchfork, 1990s, forever.